Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today, we are covering The Blackening. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. So, I am drinking the Republic of Tea Apple Pie Chai Tea. I couldn't remember if I've drank it before, and it sounded very comforting and delicious.
Smells really good.
Yes, it does. It's got cinnamon, red rooibos, ginger root, licorice root, cardamom, nutmeg, and cloves.
A lot of those are actual spices that you would put in pie.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I am drinking Republic of Tea's Honey Ginseng Green Tea. And it, if I can find the ingredients, has green tea, natural flavors, linden blossoms, eleuthero, and Panax ginseng. We always have trouble with this word. And if I mispronounce it up, probably at some point. If I am mispronouncing it, I'm sorry. I probably won't change it, but whatever. Here. I do want to say with this movie, we are going to try to be respectful. We can't really comment on certain things on this because
there's
we're
certain
not
themes
that ethnicity, obviously.
Yes. Yeah, so the movie is covering themes and subjects that we are not experts on, and
obviously.
We have not lived that same life, so we aren't really going to comment on it just because we don't really feel like that's our territory.
It's not our place.
But yeah. So we're just going to cover it as a movie as a whole.
The movie itself.
Yes.
And we know those are like the main themes of the movie. But
yes.
We're doing our best to be respectful about it.
Yeah. But thank you to the Republic of Tea for allowing us to continue to do what we love. And for our tea sippers out there, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. So, in The Blackening, a group of friends go to a rental home to celebrate Juneteenth, and they stumble upon a racist board game with life or death consequences. So for entertainment, I personally give this a 7.25. The best way I can put it is it's almost kind of like what your justification was for Blink Twice, where I just felt uncomfortable.
That is entirely fair. I also felt very uncomfy with certain things in this movie.
Yeah, like the board game, like obviously they did it on purpose.
100% uncomfortable as soon as they opened it.
Yeah, like you're like, whoa.
Like you feel a little off when you see the box, but
would you consider like 1920s, 1930s, like super racist?
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah.
And the masks that the
killers use are
excuse
the same
you
type of yeah. So, very effective.
Oh, 100% effective. Well done. You made us very uncomfy.
Yeah, they did what they were intending to do.
Yep.
And accomplish.
Very awkward viewing.
Yeah. But I will say, like, the movie as a whole, like, it kind of, at first, seems like it might be, like, a dumb comedy horror.
Like a spoof, almost.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
horror.
But then it kind of transforms into something more clever. Like, you know, I'm not going to go into it, but, like, what we're talking about before is it goes into, like, certain themes. It has certain commentary. The actual characters themselves are really varied and have like different life experiences, and it's not really like the cookie cutter. I mean, I will say the nerdy guy is definitely trending into the trope. Yeah, the trope territory or stereotype territory. But I will say, I thought it was really funny that he ended up being like a MAGA person, and he's like, I voted for Trump twice.
Like, what the hell?
And then, like, the immediate turn of everyone against him.
Oh, yeah.
It's just,
honestly, I kind of felt it myself.
well, yeah, it's like it did feel well deserved, but at the same time, it was just funny because it was like a part of one of the jokes.
Yeah,
and then he ends up being like the actual like bad guy of the movie, which like it's like almost like a not a reoccurring joke, but like a joke buildup.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of funny because like initially, whenever they were in the gas station and he's like, Android's a superior operating system, I kind of
identified with him a little bit.
Identifying
like
with
he's
him.
A nerd and he's an Android person, and we're Android users. Like,
well, and he's also just like an awkward dude, and I feel like I'm socially awkward. I feel like you're less socially awkward.
I have my moments,
but you do have your opinions, though.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm super opinionated. Android all the way. Absolutely. 100%.
But yeah, it was just so funny. And I'm like, oh, I kind of like this character.
Yeah.
I identify. And then he ends up being the villain.
And he's like the outcast of the group. You kind of feel bad for him.
Right.
Like, you kind of feel for him. And then he said what he said about Trump, and then I'm like, I feel less bad for you.
Yeah, so I feel like it was a very well played twist.
It was for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked the gay dude too. He
was one of my favorites. Honestly, love him.
He had a lot of personality.
He did.
And I feel like he didn't really fall into a lot of the tropes that gay characters tend to.
He had a couple, but not a whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I feel like they leaned into it enough so you're like, okay, he's definitely gay.
Oh, yeah.
But not so much that you're like, okay, this is kind of trending into the make the gay guy the joke type of thing.
No, he was the sassy gay friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he made a lot of good points.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I feel like most of the characters, some of the conversation that they have were like really well thought out.
Yes.
And stuff. Like them being like, I know this isn't ideal or a great idea, but the best thing I can think of right now is for us to split up. And
I love how she like almost threw up when she said it. Like, I'm about to play into this trope and I hate myself for it. But I feel like it's the best move for us.
Yeah, like the fact I really like how they do make jokes about like horror movie tropes. At the same time, they're like, okay, this is why. Mm-hmm. Like they it's a well thought out movie. Like the jokes aren't just like oh, slapstick, haha. Like it's more. It's like more thought out. I guess is the best way to put it. So, and I thought the twist of it being like multiple killers was also interesting.
I love how the quote unquote killers were just pawns.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
That was well done.
Yeah. So I can't remember. Oh yeah, I did say I rated a 7.25. So, you know, like I said, as far as a horror comedy goes, it's really well thought out. It's more than just like a comedy horror movie. Like it's got a lot of layers to it. I feel like there are parts in commentary that are not directed towards our demographic. They're for a different demographic. So there's going to be certain things that, you know, since we haven't lived that experience, we're not going to completely understand.
Or comment on it.
Or be able to comment on it. So yeah, but no, I definitely feel like this is a good movie and definitely like worth at least one watch. So.
Yes, absolutely. I definitely felt uncomfy watching a lot of it, but at the same time, I absolutely loved this movie. It was hilarious. And,
you know, in a way, it's probably good that we feel uncomfortable, too. Like, it's good to have that discomfort because it's us facing, like, you know, the not so great history.
Yes, and also, it is a big problem.
Right, right.
racism is a huge problem. And it does, there needs to be things to make it better.
Yeah.
100%. So it is good that we do feel uncomfortable watching this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, again, it is a really good movie.
Yeah.
The characters are varied and fleshed out.
Yeah.
There's growth in a lot of the characters. The interactions feel organic, and honestly, some of them are refreshing. Like, it's a really well done movie. The plot is interesting. They do have some tropes in there, but they make fun of most of the tropes.
Yeah, and it's like you get invested enough in the characters that, I mean, aside from the first two characters where they don't really expand on a lot, it's like them, I didn't really care about dying, but the characters afterwards, like they really like expand them out and have you like follow along with, to a point where you don't want any of them to die.
Yes. You're really rooting for them all.
Yeah. Yeah. So the setup, I feel like, was really good.
It is well done. They have some decent tension as well.
Yes.
I like that they had some facts while they were like playing the game in there. I honestly kind of wish that they had let us hear more of the inventions from African American people. Because one of the questions was apparently name 15 things invented by African American people, and they only let us hear like 3. And I was really interested to hear more of those. Like, that kind of information is nice.
Yeah, like I think it's probably because the movie wasn't directed towards us, but it would be cool to have like a movie set up like that where it's more like an education for people that aren't living that same experience.
Yeah, and celebrate those.
Yeah.
So that was one of my few things that I was like, oh, kind of wish it had this. Otherwise, I was in it. I really was. And the snipes that they had at each other, because they're clearly friends.
Yeah.
Like, it was really...
The relationship felt organic.
Oh, super organic and natural. Like, nothing really felt forced.
Yeah.
So I thoroughly enjoyed it. So
yeah, and especially for comedy horror, I feel like it's kind of hard to set up relationships to where they do feel natural and not forced.
Yeah. So I actually give this a 7.75.
Oh, okay.
For entertainment.
You have watched it multiple times.
Yes.
This is my first watch.
Yes.
I can't remember if we watched it at the Halloween party.
We did not.
Okay.
But this is my second viewing of it. And you pick up different things the more you watch it. And I really enjoy it. It's like, it does still make me uncomfy, but I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of good humor in it.
Well, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, the type of discomfort, it's not necessarily something that we should avoid.
Yeah.
It's like when they talk about like repeating history or whatever, how we shouldn't ignore history because it'll repeat itself or whatever.
Exactly.
It's like putting us in uncomfortable positions, make sure that hopefully we can slowly make the world a better place.
Yes. And take steps to make those changes.
Yeah. And give like recognition to like what people are still going through nowadays.
Absolutely.
Even with all of the progress that we've made.
Yeah. Also, in this movie, the characters aren't all stupid or making horrible decisions.
Yeah, that was like, really refreshing.
So refreshing.
Yeah.
Oh my god. The weapons that they chose on the whole were really good. It's what they could find.
Yeah, they had to be resourceful.
Yes, and they were really good about it. Most things were pretty accurate. We'll get to that in the realism. We'll get there. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. All in all, very entertaining movie.
Yeah.
A little uncomfy, but I feel like that's also kind of a good thing. That it does make us uncomfy.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not for us.
But so for realism, oh man, this is realism is tough.
It is.
Because it is a comedy, so
Yes.
there are aspects of it that are not realistic. But on the other hand, like the main characters themselves that were trying to survive, they made really reasonable choices.
They did. And while we can't necessarily comment on certain situations or things that the group themselves do and all that seem kind of almost stereotypical, but again, not our ethnicity, we don't know. I'm basing it more on the situation itself and like the injuries and things like that, the effects and how certain things would play out. Mm-hmm. So that we can stick to.
Yeah, I don't... And honestly, I was kind of got so sucked into the movie that I kind of forgot to pay attention to realism.
This movie is very, very good at that.
Oh, man. I feel like...
Do you want to hear some of mine?
Okay.
Just to help a little?
I mean, I feel like I would like to give it like a 2.5 or a 3. Like... Or a 4.
I'd say a 4.5 would actually be more mine.
Okay.
I feel like it is a little convenient that Clifton was able to contact the owners of the house and get them to accept, because Morgan was the chick that died first. The first girl that died, rather. She wasn't the first one in the movie that died. She was the one that planned everything. Mm-hmm. So she booked the place, she planned the invite and everything, and she sent out all of the details to everyone else. She was the organizer. So Clifton was able to contact the owners of the house. They happened to be guys that would be sympathetic to his situation, or at least willing to go along with it and willing to kill people.
His cause.
For fun. And for $1,000, which is not much.
No, it's not.
At all. Not much at all.
Especially with what you're risking.
It makes sense. It seems low, and they mention that at one point. Like, that's kind of insulting.
They're like, that's kind of, like, really?
Seriously? $1,000? That's it? But it makes sense because that was what the pot was up to when that original incident occurred. So that makes sense. Really, it seemed like the guys were mostly in it for funsies. Which is a problem in and of itself. But it's just a lot of things had to fall just into place for it to happen that way. It seemed a little convenient, and obviously movies got a movie to an extent. Thankfully, the whole movie didn't follow along with movies got a movie.
Yeah.
Again, their decisions were pretty intelligent. They made mostly decent decisions. Their reasoning made sense. The things they picked largely made sense, apart from the seasoning. Which actually did end up being useful. But still. I did take off a little bit for the vent being that freaking huge. They fit three grown-ass people in that vent.
Yeah. If I was a killer, I would be drawn towards that.
That would be one of the first places I looked, honestly. Really if you know you can fit 3 grown-ass people in there comfortably. Like, there was space in between them.
Yeah, it was a very big vent. I'm like, how big is this house?
That was basically another room.
Yeah.
And they were all able to get up there easily.
Yeah.
But sure, let's go ahead and put that size of event there easily for all of us to fit into.
Yeah, that was convenient for sure.
Extremely. But the effects themselves look decent. When they had the arrows go through different people, the wounds themselves looked realistic. The blood, the color looked realistic, apart from one scene that I can think of, and that was only for a brief moment and could have been slightly a lighting issue. But the consistency looked right, the color looked right, which we don't find often, honestly, in a lot of horror movies. It was nice.
Yeah.
But the scene I'm talking about where it seemed slightly off was where one of the killers died, where Allison got him. And blood came out of his mouth. It looked orangey.
Yeah.
And it was just for a moment, because when he was on the ground and they showed him again, it looked the right color and consistency.
Yeah.
So they fixed it. And again, that could have just been a lighting issue.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. But that was like the one time where I'm like, no. I did really like how when Lisa hit the other killer guy with the candlestick over and over and over.
Yes.
Basically pulled a clue. There were chunks as well that went everywhere.
Yeah,
like the
she
spatter.
made sure.
Yes, and I was like,
yes!
love her for it.
Yes.
I was living for it. I was like,
There's so many horror movie characters are like,
just
okay,
one or
I'm
two
done.
hits.
He's dead.
Yeah, he's down. He's dead. We're good. No, you're not. Keep hitting. I love how all the other characters too were like, damn, girl, I think he's dead. He's good. I think it's fine now. She was taking out some rage. She had had enough of that shit and was making sure. And A+ for you, girl. Thank you. But she had like little bits in her
Yeah,
face
I was
and all.
like, damn,
Like there was spatter.
oh
there
my
was
God.
debris. I am so happy that they put that in there, as kind of gross as it was. I didn't appreciate the vomit.
Yeah.
That was a bit much. Slightly funny though. And they did make reference to it. Like you knew it was coming. And not just from his like slight retching right beforehand. They made mention he's a nervous vomiter.
Yeah.
Like when he's nervous or scared, he throws up. So they made mention of that, and you knew that it was coming at some point. They didn't need to show it, and that was quite a lot. Sir, are you okay?
Like, how often do you do this, sir?
Jesus. But yeah, everything looked fairly reasonably accurate. The arrows in the tires so they couldn't leave very easily. Just everything, really. I feel like I had a slight issue when Allison had the things between her fingers. I feel like that could have potentially caused her more injury in her hand. Just the way they were positioned and everything. And might not have worked quite as well as it was portrayed in the scene. But on the whole, it was a really good idea. And she did very well with it. And again, kept going until she was sure that he was down. Thank you. And they noticed that when they looked at his boots that he didn't have a wound. So they even said, either this guy has gone through a wardrobe change or there's more than one.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's why it's like I feel like their reactions are actually realistic. To where they're paying attention to stuff that they should be, and and calling stuff out as it should be called out. Yeah,
it was so refreshing.
Rather than just have the audience be like, something doesn't seem right.
Just notice it ourselves. Yeah. They're like, no, this is a thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like, I really wish we need more horror movies that have like this type of like expansion.
Yes. More realistic characters.
Yeah.
Instead of, that's kind of odd. Let's continue on.
And they play it so well to where it's like, it doesn't, like, the movie is still funny, like, the comedy moments still work. And it's a very nice harmony between the two.
It's very well balanced.
Yeah.
And because it's more realistic, it draws you into it more. And they don't necessarily spoon feed you everything.
No.
So it's just so nice.
It's just like you're kind of riding along and watching as the characters react to stuff.
Yes. I actually couldn't like legitimately write down notes just because I was so drawn into the movie. Doesn't happen very often. I really appreciate it. I didn't get taken out of the movie experience for the most part throughout the entire thing. So I love it. I love it. It's a bit uncomfy, but I love it.
Yep.
It was so well done. I find it interesting how they like test the park ranger guy.
Yeah, that was funny. That's because they're like, oh man, he has to be one of the killers.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like it's convenient.
Really
I'm like, yes, because there's so many horror movie characters that'd be like, oh, it's a park ranger, or cop, or whoever.
Why are you here? No one called you.
Yeah.
So, and it made sense when they found the mask in his car. Like, you sit there thinking, oh no. But he's like, no, that's why I came to check, because I found it near the area.
Yeah, the fact that he had an explanation.
And that was, I mean, you can't mistake that kind of mask. That's a bad mask. That's a bad sign. Bad things. Bad things. So he was just a sweet guy. I was trying to help, and rip. But I love how he's like, if I was invited to the cookout, I would be honored, but I wouldn't come.
I know the fact that he like explains that at the same time.
And they're like, why?
Also makes him a little bit sus at first.
Well, no, the way he explained it, I'm like, oh, that's actually really sweet to think about that. And all of them were like, that's actually a really good answer. I like that. Yeah. But then he like oversteps a little bit, and they're like, okay, don't get too comfortable.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed that. I found it interesting that they didn't make him a cop. He was just like a park ranger, which, why are you questioning someone?
Yeah.
Like when he first showed up in the movie.
Yeah.
Why are you questioning someone as to why they're staying there or not? Or if they're actually there?
Like what authority?
I mean, I guess he just took initiative on it, but like, you're a park ranger. Do they even have authority to do anything about that? I feel like that's not your area.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, like, if they were there unauthorized, then he could probably kick them out, and if they didn't listen, then he could call the cops, but I don't know.
I don't know, it just seemed a little off there.
Yeah.
Like, in that instance.
Right.
And then, since he met a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them, he's like, okay, they're all staying there as a group. And then he sees that mask and he's like, I need to check on them. That made sense. Yeah. But it was just the initial meeting. I was like, why, sir?
Yeah.
Why?
I agree.
So, but yeah.
But it's like, overall, this is a really well done, smart comedy horror movie. And I feel like we need more, I mean, not just comedy horror movies, but horror movies in general that follow this type of like trend of like having smarter and better written characters and having them like actually make good decisions.
Yes, and authority figures that aren't completely incompetent.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Like, it definitely checked a lot of good boxes for us.
He did make a stupid move by like, stay here, I'm gonna go check this out, without even calling for backup or anything. But still, overall, most of it was nice and refreshing.
Yeah. So I definitely think it's worth a watch.
Absolutely.
And yeah. So thank you for joining us today, and let us know what you thought of the movie. If you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
If you'd like to support us monetarily, we have a Teespring and a PayPal, or we have our affiliate link with Republic of Tea available. It does not affect the price of the tea. It just allows us to continue to do what we love. And you can find all of those sites mentioned linked below. But until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy. Bye! Bye.